Are you fascinated by vehicles? Do you like to drive or fix them? Then a career in transportation, distribution, and logistics might be for you. Workers in the transportation, distribution, and logistics cluster drive and fix vehicles or work behind the scenes. These workers move people and products by road, air, rail, and water. You might work as a driver, pilot, engineer, or captain. You might repair and maintain the vehicles, trains, planes, and ships that move people and products. Or you might work behind the scenes to make sure the products and people get to the right place on time. The work environment can be a car repair shop, a train, a bus, or an office. There are over 60 different careers across the 7 different career pathways in transportation, distribution, and logistics. Those pathways include facility and mobile equipment maintenance, health, safety, and environmental management, logistics planning and management services, sales and service, transportation operations, transportation systems, infrastructure planning, management and regulation, or warehousing and distribution center operations.
I take care of marketing and public relations at South Central Transit. As a public transportation provider, there are a lot of scenarios. Different people use us for different reasons. So helping people become familiar with our services, whether it's over the phone or in person or giving a service presentation. I take care of all of the social media posts, so weather notifications, changes in service, or routes that are running behind, such as that, getting that information out to the public as efficiently as possible. So I began working at South Central Transit. I've been there 16 years, and I started in customer service. Like most organizations and businesses, there is always normally the opportunity for advancement within the company, which is what I have done. I am now in marketing, public relations, still do some customer service. When I began working at South Central Transit, honestly, marketing was never in my career path, but it's something that was presented to me and became very comfortable doing it. Marketing and public relations, interacting with both the media, press releases, internet, website. Within our organization, there are a lot of different job opportunities, everything from your dispatching and scheduling offices, which are people call in, make appointments. Maybe they're just calling in to check on the status of their bus or, confirm their pickup times, schedule medical appointments. We also have information technology, so our IT guys, which are very important. They have a big key in our communication. Drivers and operators of our vehicles. We have operations managers. We have driving trainers. We have safety and security officers. So many different positions within our organization. Someone pursuing becoming a driver or a mechanic or a driving trainer, all of those are going to require a CDL license, a commercial driver's license, which you can obtain at the age of 21 years. You want to be sure to have a clean driving record. That is huge. Obviously, the mechanics and the trainers are all at one time or another going to be driving a vehicle, as well as the drivers and operators. It is also very important to remember that you are going to need a high school diploma or a GED to be employed with a public transit. Public transit is not just buses. Amtrak the airlines, medical transportation, providers that provide just medical transportation, all considered public transportation. Everything that we do is overseen by the Illinois Department of Transportation. The ADA guidelines for Americans with disabilities, those are all going to be important things to be aware of. Public transportation is a necessity, whether it's for the underprivileged or if it's just someone seeking employment to work. Maybe they're two-income family that only has one vehicle. What I love the most about working at South Central Transit, I get to do a lot of meeting new people, networking with many others, social service organizations. I may get out and ride the bus with a new client or a senior citizen client to make them become comfortable or a little more aware of how our services work. It's rewarding to be able to let someone know about public transportation and fill them in on something that they may or may not know that is available to them.
We're here in the airport's community hangar, and this structure was built basically to do essentially anything: store one big airplane or several medium-sized airplane or a whole bunch of little airplanes, or move it all out and have home shows or political rallies, which we've had all of that here. I'm actually titled the airport director, which means I direct everything that the airport does. A day-to-day role for me is, what makes it interesting is there really is no day-to-day role because the day changes when you get here. For instance, right now we're in the middle of winter. We have a lot of winter conditions out there, so all week long I've been driving a snowplow, and then when I'm off the snowplow, I'm in the office uploading documents to the FAA for an upcoming FAA inspection that's going to happen later in the month. And so there's always something to do here. I do all the budgeting, try to apply for grants. A lot of people skills that you have to have good people skills because you're dealing with tenants, local governmental bodies, a 5-member board that I report to. I have to interface with them, and then I have a staff that I have to oversee. So there's just a lot of different things, a lot of moving parts. What's really exciting because we have flight training. So certified flight instructors are training the next generation of pilots. So we don't have like a charter airline operating in here or an airline service that operates. So most of our piloting is training other pilots. And so we also have an international airline academy here that trains Chinese pilots, and our domestic flight school. But one of the things I'm most proud about is we have a tremendous amount of airframe and power plant technicians. It's basically a mechanic that works on airplanes and helicopters. So the next door to us, there are 2 helicopter mechanics that are here full time. And then around the flight line, there are 8 airplane mechanics that are here full time. And then the Aerovac EMS base has a mechanic that is assigned to them as well. So there's a lot of people that turn wrenches for a living here at the airport, as well as teach people to fly. There are numerous ways to get there. One could go to a school like SIU Carbondale or St. Louis University and go the aviation school route to get that education, or that person could come to a place like what we have here and work on the shop floor for 30 months, earning a basically minimum wage, and then set for the tests. So you kind of leapfrog over the educational system, and that is the mechanic route. On the piloting side, you can go to a major university like I just said, or you could come to what's called a Part 91 opportunity like we have here, where you learn from an instructor and you pay as you go, and you achieve those ratings that you would at the university level, and then you go on to fly for an airline or some other commercial activity. So what I tell the young people when I'm at the career fair is, don't ever settle for what the world tells you is one way of getting somewhere. because there's oftentimes a lot of other alternative ways to get there. You just have to be willing to explore and talk to people that are in the industry. It's super exciting that there's not just one channel. This is one of my favorite pieces that I like to show when I talk to the young people. I don't know if you can see this, but this is what an airline pilot looked like when I was a young man. And this is from the movie Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio, seen walking through Miami International Airport. If you've seen the movie, you remember this scene. And so we always had in a vision that you were wearing this nice uniform with the captain's hat and carrying the briefcase full of charts and all that. Here's what airline pilots look like now. And you can see the roles have reversed. And there are a lot of young ladies that are sitting up there in that cockpit flying all across the country. And I usually have my iPad with me to show the difference to the kids. You know, up till about 10 years ago, all of your charts and sectionals and things like that were carried in this big satchel, and you always had to have that with you, and you had to update this every month. So you would get all this paper in the mail, and you'd take out the old, put in the new, and all your through-ring binders. Now all this information is on one single iPad, and there's no more getting paper. You just go to the cloud and it downloads it to you every 28 days. So the technology has really, really evolved, and it's super exciting.
My job is basically to facilitate and hire the best people so that our people can take good care of our customers. So I manage them and hire them and help train them so that we give the best customer experience that we possibly can. So I had the advantage of starting out whenever I was really young, probably under 10 years of age, and I would go help clean cars and go back hang out in the shop and back in the parts department. So I had that experience at a very young age. I went to college and graduated, went to work for another company for about 5 years, and then my dad got back into the new car business, and when he did, I joined him shortly thereafter, and that was in June of 1997. So been with them since, and he passed away about 14 years ago, and we're carrying the torch and have grown a little bit since then. So we have one in Mount Vernon, which is Monken Toyota, and we also have two in Centralia, Monken Chevrolet Buick GMC and Monken Chrysler Nissan. So the different types of jobs offered at Monken, we have sales jobs, which would be helping facilitate or help someone choose a vehicle and figure out what's best for their needs and wants and budget. We also have a parts department. Our parts department helps customers when they're working on their vehicle, or we're one of our biggest customers, so our service department, when someone comes in for service, which is another department that someone can work in, they come in to tell us that their car's not running right or whatever that is. So we have someone that greets them and helps facilitate and communicate to them what's going on with their vehicle, and they go back into our service department with our technicians, and the technician, they have to communicate what the customer heard or what's going on to the technician so that the technician can fix their vehicle. And once we've identified what the problem is, we have to communicate what the problem was and why we recommend fixing it. Communication is a huge part of this. So if our advisors are not listening and empathizing with the customer, they're not going to be able to get the customer's vehicle fixed. So it's very important that everything that they hear from the customer and ask the right questions is a big part, which is on the communication side. So, you know, I would job shadow. If you're in grade school or high school at some point, I would ask a business, whatever it is, whether it's automotive, could I come in and job shadow and follow? And in our case, we have 6 different departments that someone could come in and job shadow and check out and see if it's something that they would be interested in, and doing that way before you get to college or in that level so that you don't have to change your major or something along those lines. The junior colleges in Rend Lake does a great job, and I actually went to another junior college in Centralia. Do a very good job of doing the basics on training someone. And again, it's the being punctual, it's the listening, the communication skills. If you can do those type of things, again, we can train the specifics on how to do the job and the processes that are involved. Starting off at a junior college is a great place to do it, to get a basic certification or something along those lines. A preference is, but not a requirement, would be to get an Ase Certificate. Ase helps to eliminate some of the training that would be required at the dealership. But in this case, at this store, Toyota has a lot of training available. Much of it's online for the basics. They'll take classes and then take tests to make sure that their aptitude and their learning is there. And from there, they go to more advanced classes where, in our case, most of the training is either in Chicago, a few in St. Louis, where they'll get hands-on training to learn. But we have the very most basic technicians that start with us, and it's a very important job, oil changes and doing the basic service, because we have to do an inspection, and that's something that we're really, we put a lot of emphasis on, because we want to make sure that A, customers are safe, and B, that the customer is going to get the most value out of their vehicle, and sometimes that takes maintenance on the vehicle. So the technician being thorough to do that inspection is a great place to start, and then they can work their way up, and we will train them to be more of a full-line technician for a more complicated job. There's a lot of different departments. So whenever you think of a dealership, some people just think of it in a very narrow scope. There are positions for just about anyone that has the aptitude or interest in getting into the business.
One of the things that I do is I just kind of meet with all the management, and we come down the trickle of who does what does what, and we just manage around. We meet a couple times a week, go over what their jobs are, watch all the money coming in, watch all the money going out. Just making sure the business is running. I love seeing when we can help a customer buy a car and they're walking out of here smiling. My other part is, the equal favorite part is, people don't want to come in to service their car. They don't want to spend money. So if we can make that situation the best that we can and they walk out of here smiling and recommending people, it's just fun that we can help people. Working for the Monken organization is, they're one of the top people. They're very heavily involved in the community. They truly and genuinely care about the employees and everything we do. They put family first, which makes our jobs easier, and to know that once they care about that so much, we care about everybody else coming through. And they do empower us to help us to keep the customers coming back and make decisions that on the day-to-day basis makes it easier. So definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, I went to Mount Vernon High School, and then I went to Rend Lake, and then I actually went to Murray State, where I was a biology major most of the time. Then I became a business major, which has to do with this. I had been a salesman for maybe 7 months, position open for finance, and then I did finance. That was, I believe, March of 2019 up until now, and then now I'm over the sales and the finance aspect. So I'm the one that does a lot of the paperwork, and I do a lot of the numbers when customers come in and want to purchase a vehicle.
Okay. So what do you love the most about your job?
My favorite part of my job is getting to meet all the customers. Whenever I was a salesman, which was awesome, I only got to meet my customers, and now not only do I get to meet customers when they come in, I get to sit down with them, learn about them, and congratulate them on their vehicle and see them smile, which is something that I always enjoy. Just finding how we connect, especially if somebody's from Jefferson County. It's always nice to find out who we know in common and stuff, and it's just a really, really awesome time, honestly. A lot of the finance process is being very detailed. The paperwork has to be almost specific to how that bank wants it. Signatures have to be in a certain order. Can't be off by a penny, or all the paperwork has to be redone. Making sure I'm being compliant with the federal laws and just state laws and everything. Being in the finance part of it, I do have to do stuff with the state when it comes to the plates and stuff. So just something that I like about it is just how detailed it is and how everything kind of has to be done in a certain order. And it really, learning that has been, and there's still stuff that I learned, but learning that has just been, it's been awesome. And once you have it down, it's a blast to do, honestly. I would say work on your people skills. Be real with people. If you're somebody that loves to talk to people, loves to share your knowledge, honestly, that's something that coming into it, I was always so nervous. I was like, I don't know about this car. But once you kind of know your product, really just having the confidence to talk to people. And even if you're not confident, fake it. Fake it till you make it. It's what I always say. And by fake it, I don't mean fake your knowledge, but just be confident, honestly. And people will, and if you don't know the answer to something, be truthful with people. Hey, I don't have the answer to that. Let me take a look and see if I can find it for you. People love that. So really it's just being confident and being a people person. Has really helped me, though. And it's something that has came over time, honestly. It's something that, like I said, I wasn't very good at first, especially back in my grade school days. I was the shy kid. And now people come in here that knew me in grade. I've had some teachers from grade school come in here and purchase a vehicle, and they're like, Presley? I'm like, I know. So it's been awesome to kind of watch myself grow and have Wes and Michelle, the owners, have their support and everything. It's I would say the people skills, though, is probably one of the most important aspects of it.
Mainly the mechanics come in and they ask for prices and availability on parts. I take care of anything that they need around the shop. Usually come by parts ordering or anything like that. I kind of fell into this job 15 years ago. Not this particular job, but I just kind of started here 6 months ago. But parts is something new every day. It's not always the same old, same old thing every day. So it makes it a little nice to come to work and not have to know that you're doing the same thing over and over again. So
you don't see a lot of guys that want to get into it anymore. But I mean, stick it out. There's a lot of money to be made.
Yeah.
And you gotta have a love. You gotta have a love for it. I mean, there's days your patience runs thin, and you get kind of angry with some things, but you gotta have a real love for it. I mean, it's once you look at something, oh, that came in here broke, and you fixed it. It's a feeling of like pride, having pride in your work, stuff like that.
If you are interested in a career in transportation, distribution, and logistics, Renlake College is here to help you prepare with a variety of programs to develop the knowledge and skills needed. RLC has career technical education programs such as Automotive Technology Associate of Applied Science degree or certificates, Diesel Technology Associate of Applied Science degree or certificate, Heavy Equipment Technology Associate of Applied Science degree or certificate, Truck Driver Training Certificate, Heavy Equipment Transportation Certificate, Unmanned Aircraft System Certificate.